Hello, everybody. Welcome to the June 27th meeting of the Pittsburgh Water Board. I'm BJ Leber. I am here because Alex Shuley is on the phone, so he's chairing this meeting, but not with easy access potentially. And Erica Strasburger is on vacation, so you've got me for the next hour or so. So we'll start with the roll call.
Mr. Shuley. He's on. Okay. Might not be, but...
He's on. We just can't hear from him right now.
Okay. Ms. Strasburger. Ms. Leber.
Here.
Mr. Domock. Here. Ms. McCormick Barron.
Here.
Mr. Bay. Adam, acting chair. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Do we have any public comment? Okay, hearing none. Do we have an approval of the meeting minutes of May 23rd?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have confirmed the CEO approvals, and now it is reports and updates, starting with Ed Barca for the Finance Department.
Morning, board. Happy Friday. Included in your board packet is the finance report through May 31st of 2025. Within the report, you'll see that total receipts at the end of May totaled $94.3 million, which is approximately 39.3% of the total budget for the year. In May specifically, Pittsburgh Water collected $18.5 million, which is consistent with the budget for the month of about $19 million. All in, year-end receipts are projected to be $241.3 million, which is about $1.4 million or 0.6% higher than budget. So really, rounding out the year on a forecasted basis, but we're right where we need to be at this point in the year. Departmental operating expenditures through May 31st, 2025 totaled $44.5 million, or about 34.2% of the budget for the year. And I just want to note that we have made some significant investments so far in the operating budget. We have a new Vector truck and a new CCTV vehicle that we purchased. All in there for those two vehicles, about $1 million. We have a significant purchase coming later in the year as well for about $1.5 million that you'll see later as the year progresses. Capital expenditures through that same period, it totaled about $58.8 million. That total is about $9 million higher than this time last year. So capital expenditures continue to accelerate. Total year-end capital expenditures for this year are projected to be $299 million. And that total may seem high, but again, if you consider that we're higher than we were last year, and we have the commencement of the ABC construction project starting in August, there are some very large projects coming online shortly. $41.4 million in debt service costs have been paid through the end of May of this year, which is about 45.5% of the total budget. And forecasted year-end debt service is projected to be $91.1 million, or about $2.6 million lower than the adopted budget. Last, I will note that Pittsburgh Water's cash balance remains healthy at about $166 million, but is still below our peer comparisons. And with that cash balance, I do want to note that it will continue to grow up until August of this year. At that point, we will make our second semi-annual debt service payment of about $38 million. So just be prepared for that, and coming reports that that you will see that reflected. This concludes my report for today. We'll turn it back over for any questions. Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions for Ed? I have one. Did you say that the 221 is under peer comparisons?
The 166 million, is that what you're referring to?
Yes.
Yeah, it is under
221 day. Yes.
Yes.
What would the goal be for peer comparisons?
About 350 to 400 days cash on hand. That equates to about $300 million of cash on hand, physical cash.
Okay, so our goal is to head in that direction.
Yes, and we have, and it's just it's taking some time, number of years, but we're progressing.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Rachel Beam for the Engineering Department report.
Good morning, members of the board. For today's report, I'd like to share with the board an overview of the many essential projects that our team is managing. As you know, I typically highlight a particular program to illustrate the nature of the programs, but today I'm going to attempt a broader overview of our current capital program. I will not be addressing each or even most projects, I promise, but rather pointing out some highlights and touching on just a few specific project updates and pulling up some slides. Thanks, Herman. So each row represents an individual contract, and I wanted to represent the projects that way to emphasize the large volume of contracts that we are managing, which is often more than one for a given project. Each of these has its own contractor, design consultant, and CMCI consultant. Not included in these lists, I'm not going to bombard you with every project we have. Not included are projects in final closeout, a few other small ones. Also not included are the operating contracts we manage, such as urgent water and sewer and surface restoration. So as you see, each row represents a contract, the current and next phases of the project, and the anticipated date when the next phase will start, and the current contract budget in the CIP. And please note those costs are across the 5 years of the CIP and not just the 2025 budget. So on this first slide is our lead service line replacement program. These are primarily our neighborhood contracts where we perform most of the lead service line replacement towards our goal of replacing all residential lead service lines by 2027. As you can see, the 2024 contracts are actively in construction, with 2025 neighborhood contracts going out for bid soon. Next, we have our stormwater projects in various stages of design and construction. The largest of these is the Southside Flats project, the last one on the list. These projects represent a range of work to help mitigate flooding events and or reduce flows into our combined stormwater system. They include stormwater separation, stormwater storage, improvements under cost shares with others, including Pittsburgh Regional Transit, and catch basin improvements. Next, we have wastewater projects, which encompass the next 2 slides. Pittsburgh Water maintains over 1,200 miles of combined storm and sanitary sewer lines, and our continuing investments replace and rehabilitate our sewer mains and pump stations, and over time reduce the need for emergency repairs. Notably, the 2024 large diameter sewer project involves 2 project locations. That is about partway down the slide. Oh, I apologize. 2024 large, yes, it's almost at the bottom, I apologize. Represents 2 project locations, the Birmingham Bridge, which is 670 feet of 60-inch sewer between 5th Avenue and 2nd Avenue, and the Fern Hollow Bridge, which is 1,050 feet of 54 to 60-inch sewer located under the Fern Hollow Bridge in Frick Park. While our sewer infrastructure did not contribute to that bridge collapse, following the event, we televised the sewer, found it in reasonable condition. However, it does have minimal coverage in this area, which was one factor in the decision to rehabilitate it. And these are additional wastewater projects. Many are in design and going to be bid soon. A project I wanted to highlight towards the bottom of the list is the Browns Hill Road Sewer Pump Station, located just off the Homestead Grays Bridge in the Glen Hazel neighborhood. The station was originally constructed in 1970, and the continued reliable, safe operation of the station is not feasible as most of the equipment has reached the end of its useful life. This project's design encompasses increasing capacity, bringing the facility to within compliance of Pittsburgh water and regulatory standards. The scope includes a new building to protect the equipment, backup power, all new mechanicals and instrumentation and controls, and general improvements, including security measures and systems and better illumination. So this image on the left shows how our operations staff have to pull in and then back out into traffic on Browns Hill Road for regular O&M. The new station will provide operations staff a safe turnaround to exit the facility and will overall improve working conditions. Also shown are several model renderings on the right. At the current station, all the equipment is exposed. So visible in those renderings, you can see the secured pump and other equipment within the building with the blue, with the pumps being highlighted in blue. This project is scheduled to be advertised in July. These next 2 slides include our water distribution projects and programs. Pittsburgh Water maintains approximately 950 miles of water lines. And like our sewer rehab program, these continuing investments replace and rehabilitate our mains and over time reduce the need for emergency repairs for leaks and breaks. So these are primarily our small diameter water main replacement contracts, many of which are in construction or starting construction, as well as large diameter main replacement and valve replacement contracts. Moving on to our water pumping and storage projects. These represent a variety of projects in our system to renew our vertical assets. Most of the vertical projects, as you can see, have multiple prime contractors, and the coordination of these contractors to ensure safe and efficient completion is a critical aspect. Pointing out the new sodium hypochlorite system at the Heron Hill Reservoir towards the top of the list is now up and running continuously and successfully in time for the warm season. Also notable are the various contracts for the Highland Reservoir Pump Station, which, as we know from the board's recent site visit, is moving along well towards substantial completion later this year. Also up and running successfully at the moment is the new bypass Lincoln Pump Station shown towards the bottom of the list, which will allow for the eventual replacement of the Lincoln Pump Station and Lincoln Tank. I'd like to highlight the Landfill Reservoir Booster Disinfection Project, which is moving along efficiently towards substantial completion, with commissioning startup scheduled for early fall. So this project involves primarily the replacement of the existing chlorine booster disinfection system, along with a new reservoir meter vault and associated valves and piping. So shown on the left are the chemical storage tanks and related piping and appurtenances. And on the right is the completed exterior of the building with a generator for backup power. Also included with this project are piping improvements in the immediate vicinity of our Landfill Reservoir. We have some photos here showing the 36-inch diameter HDPE bypass piping installation, which will allow for the installation of a new meter, new sodium hypochlorite injection point, and other appurtenances on our 60-inch supply main feeding the Landfill super system area. This above grade temporary bypass piping will be removed at the end of the project. Moving on to our water reliability plan projects, as included in our state consent decree. The bulk of this budget is for ABC, which is on track for the PennVest board meeting in July, followed by PennVest closing and notice to proceed in August. We're also moving forward with the other projects on this list, both in design phases and on schedule as required in the consent decree. The next to last category is our water treatment plant, which includes many critical upgrades to our aging equipment at our plant, ranging from chemical storage and feed systems, treatment processes, piping, support equipment such as the overhead crane at the Aspenwell Pump Station, and replacement of the filter building roof. Of note is the raw water intakes project, which includes the rehab of both of our intakes, traveling screen replacement, revetment wall evaluation, and replacement of the raw water intake meter. Notable on this slide, next slide, is the sedimentation basin rehab project, which has been divided into two phases. The phase shown here is for phase one, which is the cleaning of the sedimentation basins and some rehab work to support the larger project in phase two. And finally, just a few miscellaneous projects, including the Domi Sylvan Avenue in the Greenfield neighborhood, which is a cost share project with the city of Pittsburgh, an aerial view of which is shown below. That is the end of my slides. And just one final update, the following two projects are currently out for construction bids. The overhead crane modernization project, bids for this are due July 8th. And the Woods Run Maridale Avenue project, which includes but is not limited to combined sewer, storm sewer, water main, sewer, stormwater infrastructure, and stream restoration work, and bids are due July 24th. This concludes my report. I will turn it over for any questions. And thank you for your attention. That was a lot of information.
Any questions or comments?
Yeah,
Mike?
thank you. It's been a really wet spring, some major gully washers. Has that adversely affected the schedule of any of the stormwater projects like down in Sawmill Run or some of the more cantankerous sites?
Not that I'm aware of, but I'll look into that and let you know for sure.
Just really robust work plan and ongoing activities there. And kudos to everybody who's involved. I know as we drive around town, sometimes traffic gets a little gnarly, but I try to remind people there's a lot of good stuff going on. So
Thank you.
Yeah, I would echo that. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, Chief Operations and Environmental Compliance Report, Frank Sideri.
Right. Good morning, everyone. So in July of this year, so next month, we're going to be completing our annual staff training on Pittsburgh Water's Environmental Compliance and Ethics Program. This program we've had in place since 2021. And so I just wanted to take the opportunity to review both for you as well as the public, the components of our Environmental Compliance and Ethics Program. There's three key pieces that we try to implement through this program. One is making sure that we create a culture of environmental compliance and ethics here at Pittsburgh Water. Importantly, that we have a way to detect non-compliant activities at an early stage, and that we have methods for a swift response to those identified issues to have those resolved. 5 key components that make up our program. The first is our mission statement and our core values. Our core values, of course, include stewardship, accountability, safety, equity, as well as ethics and integrity. And our ethics and integrity core value includes modeling honesty and transparency, as well as professionalism in everything that we do, including both environmental and regulatory compliance. Our organizational structure is another key part of this program. This includes the development of the Environmental Compliance Department, which occurred back in 2021. And we have built out a full staff of both environmental compliance and sustainability team members to help support our organizational needs for environmental compliance. As the Chief Operating and Environmental Compliance Officer, I report directly to our CEO, as well as indirectly to the board. And our team at the water treatment plant is available to all Pittsburgh Water employees, as well as our contractors to provide support on environmental compliance matters. Third is our codes and policies that we've developed. These include our ethics, code of ethics, our code of conduct, our non-retaliation policy, and our whistleblower policy. These policies are annually reviewed by myself and Human Resources, and they're made available to all staff. In January of each year, we do an all-staff acknowledgement of these policies, and we also provide hard copies in staffed facilities and have those on our intranet for folks to access. Fourth component is our training programs. These involve the creation of training policies that we have, as well as the maintenance of our cloud-based learning management system. And we conduct various environmental compliance and ethics training for the board members, as well as our staff and our contractors throughout the year. Previously reported on many of these opportunities throughout the year, and we, demonstrating that we actively complete training throughout the year for our staff. And finally, the environmental compliance program is the fifth key component of the environmental compliance manual is the fifth key component of our program. This manual wasn't initially issued again in 2021, and it focused primarily at that time on the water treatment plant and our water production facilities. In 2023, we completed the expansion of that manual to include all of our facilities, and it captures our regulatory obligations for drinking water, wastewater, and stormwater, as well as our chemical and fuel storage, waste management, and air quality, all topics that I've spoke on before. Our environmental compliance and ethics program is a living program. It's updated to mesh with our operations while managing resources and helping us to meet those environmental compliance obligations that we have. As I noted, training will be provided on this program next month to all staff. But if anybody ever has questions on our environmental compliance program, they can always reach out to me. Lastly, as an operational update for this month, looking back into May, our reporting month, we performed over 2,200 laboratory analysis on our drinking water to help assure water quality while averaging a production rate of almost 61 million gallons of water per day in May for our customers. During this, our plant operations team has worked through our water treatment process, handling various river conditions. You can have all experienced some of the heavy rain events we've had, resulting in turbid waters and changes in river water quality. And we continue to adjust treatment operations to make sure that we are putting out quality water all time. We also need to think about our operationals teams. So I'd like to provide a shout out to them. They continue to maintain our treatment and distribution systems through this recent heat wave. So all of these days, earlier this week and probably out there even today, we have staff working out in the field to maintain both our drinking water production, but also making sure that our water distribution, our sewer collection lines are all functioning as promised. Our safety department works closely with our operations team to help provide education to our staff on working in the heat. And our warehouse staff helps meet the needs of our crews by keeping them as cool as possible, proper hydration, and providing needed supplies and PPE to work in the heat. Because of the dedicated work of everyone here at Pittsburgh Water, our customers can be confident in the quality of their drinking water And we encourage everyone to drink their tap water and stay hydrated throughout the summer. So this concludes my report. As always, if you have questions, environmental compliance or ethics, I'm more than happy to answer those.
Any questions or comments for Frank?
Thank you.
Thanks, Frank. We will continue to drink our tap water, and I'm wondering if you staged the equipment coming by the window as you gave your report. It was very dramatic. Okay, Will, Chief Executive Officer report.
Good morning, members of the board, members of the Pittsburgh Water team, and the public. I'm really excited to reflect as part of my remarks. This past month, earlier in June, we had a number of Pittsburgh Water employees attend the AWWA annual conference and exhibition. It's sort of the premier drinking water association event. And we had an amazing cohort across the board of the Pittsburgh Water team participate and present at that conference. We had a really great showing in years past. Maybe there were years that it was just myself representing Pittsburgh Water, or maybe some leadership, but to see participation throughout the organization and an opportunity for them to showcase what we talk about here each month and in our education sessions was fantastic. One reflection that I have as part of that engagement, one of the benefits I get in going to those events is talking to other utility leaders. And during a social event, someone I had never met before who runs a utility in Illinois came up and said, "I'm proud of you." And it kind of, was odd. I've never met this guy before. And then he went on to say all of the things that our group has been up to and what this city has been up to in the last 5 or so years in turning this organization around. And kind of gives me chills to think about. Here was someone who had a stake in it just because they're another leader in our industry, had that sort of impression, which is absolutely on point. And it's not about being proud of me. It's much more than anything I bring to the table. This has just been a tremendous team effort, governance and guidance from our board of directors all the way down. And a lot of those conversations happened through the course of that experience in Denver at that conference. I'm really excited to remind folks that the One Water Summit is going to be held at the Convention Center here in a few weeks, the week of July 7th. That's the U.S. Water Alliance's annual convening, and we will have several sessions that will highlight what we are up to with a particular focus on our community engagement and interaction. Our board members not with us today, Jamil Bey, will be joining me in a discussion to kick off the event. And as a reminder, Pittsburgh was selected because of the kind of progress that I'm talking about that people are beginning to pick up on. Rachel's presentation, we chatted beforehand. The breadth is really just hard to grasp. All of the various projects that are in different stages of design or construction or closeout, and that is just one department of the organization. We have representation here at the board meeting to talk about bits and pieces of what we do, but there's so much going on in the positive direction. I'm extremely proud. And this month actually marks my 5-year anniversary as CEO. Also just to reflect on how lucky I've been to lead this group, how much I love it, best job I've ever had, and really excited for closing out this year strong and future strong years at Pittsburgh Water. So that wraps up my reflections for halfway through 2025. Happy to answer any questions.
Happy anniversary. We're glad you're here too.
Thank you.
Any other comments, questions?
Happy anniversary.
I don't know what 5 years is. Is that a paper?
I think it's
anniversary or
paper, yeah.
All right. We've got plenty of that.
Thanks, Will. All right, resolution number 55, Ed Barca.
Resolution number 55 of 2025. Authorizing a financial assistance application and a letter of no prejudice to be submitted to the Pennsylvania Infrastructure Investment Authority for the 2024 small diameter water main replacement project in the total amount of $77,740,432.
Do we have a motion?
Motion approved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I guess I was supposed to ask for discussion. Any discussion? Right, Danny? He's giving me the eye.
It's already been approved.
Okay, it's approved. Thanks, Ed. All right, resolution number 56.
Resolution number 56 of 2025, approving the resolution to borrow for the 2025A neighborhood lead service line replacement project as part of the Penvest closing process and the total amount of $26,056,876.
Do you have a motion?
Motion approved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Resolution number 57 of 2025, approving the reimbursement resolution for the 2025A neighborhood lead service line replacement project, also a part of the Penvest closing process, in the total amount of $26,056,876.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? I do have a question, and I know I've asked this before, Ed, but this simply is a trigger by the previous resolution, correct? Or is triggered by the previous resolution, correct?
Correct, yeah. So resolution number 56 is essentially authorizing the loan and the grant from Penvest, and then resolution 57 is authorizing the interim financing for us to pay for these expenses as they are incurred, and then to seek reimbursement from Penvest after.
Okay, great, thanks. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right, resolution passes.
Resolution number 58 of 2025, authorizing the application and agreement for Alcosan's Grow Grant Program for the 2025 Small Diameter Sewer Rehabilitation Project, Contract 3.
Have a motion? Second?
Total amount is to be spent in Arlington, or is it that just one of the neighborhoods?
I believe that's just one of the neighborhoods. It's one of the contracts, so it's not the entire program for this year, but yes.
Okay, thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, resolution passes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ed. Frank, resolution number 59.
Yes. Resolution 59 is approving a change order of an operating contract for the MS4 Compliance Stream Bank Stabilization and Restoration Project to Brex Enterprises. This is in the operating budget in the amount of $272,247.46.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Frank, can you translate this for us?
Translate, yes. Under our MS4, MPDS MS4 permit, we have a requirement to implement some projects to help us improve stormwater quality. We're required to implement is the stream bank restoration that's occurring in an unnamed tributary to Chartiers, kind of in the South Hills. So these are improvements to a short section of those streams to improve the stream banks in those particular areas. The original project was awarded. It was under the $1 million mark, was not brought to the board. It was done through the CEO approval process. This change order exceeds that. Soils that were encountered that cannot go to a clean fill site and needed to be disposed at a specialized facility.
And what is MS4?
MS4 is the Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System permit. So.
Frank, I just had a question.
Sure.
The resolution says 272, 247.46. The backup says 272, 747.46.
See that. I believe the backup is probably correct in this case.
So we should have a we should vote and deny the motion for approval for 272, 247.46. Then put a new motion up for approval of 272, 747.46.
Okay, so first we'll vote to deny the first
Like, well,
motion.
you're voting to approve and everybody says no.
Okay, so we're going to vote to approve. All in favor?
No.
Opposed?
Yeah, both.
Yeah, okay.
Now, new motion.
Okay, so now we need a motion to approve the resolution in the amount of $272,747.46.
Yes.
Motion.
Second.
Any further discussion? All right, all approved? Or all, yeah, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, so the resolution passes with changes as noted.
Thank you.
Okay, Rachel, resolution number 60.
Resolution 60, approving an amendment of a professional services agreement for consulting services for 2025 neighborhood-led service line replacement contract A to Eastwood Consultants LLC, capital budget $349,200. This amendment is for consulting services by Dan Duffy, our LSLR program manager, for services including but not limited to general LSLR program management, construction management, and managing requirements of the Public Utility Commission and the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection.
Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Resolution passes.
Resolution 61, approving a change order of a professional services agreement for design of the Aspenwall Pump Station, Brecken Pump Station, and Clearwell Bypass Project to Brown and Caldwell. Capital budget $13,960,194. This change order is required primarily to proactively fund design services during construction, or DSDC, beyond the original estimates in Brown and Caldwell's 2020 proposal. The proactive portion of this change order for DSDC amounts to approximately $13,500,000, which is the vast majority of the change order. Changes since the original 2020 proposal include increases in the scope, magnitude, and duration of the project, more stringent regulatory and Pittsburgh water requirements and standards, level of effort anticipated for reviewing submittals and RF requests for information, volume of meetings, addition of many services, including special inspections, commissioning services, and startup plans, additional support requested by Pittsburgh Water for permitting and funding compliance, including community outreach and BABA support. That's funding support. The remaining approximately $500,000 is for additional design services, including survey work at the Clearwell and Brecken Pump Station and design updates following the 100% design.
Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Thanks for clarifying the going forward nature of this.
Of course.
Yeah, I would just add that we realize it's a significant change, but commend you on the proactive approach to the project.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Resolution passes.
Resolution 62, approving a change order of a capital contract for construction of the Southside Flat Sewer Separation Contract to A. Felino Construction and an amendment of a professional services agreement capital for construction management and inspection services to Whitman, Reckard and Associates LLP. Capital budget $1,429,325.07. This change order primarily includes additional flagging, miscellaneous changes to the piping and micro tunneling work, and construction work to accommodate a future stormwater connection.
Motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Resolution passes.
Resolution 63, approving a change order of a capital contract for construction of the 2023 water relay contract to Independent Enterprises. Capital budget $815,393.12. This change order is primarily for additional costs associated with additional flagging, water line and fitting changes resulting from unmarked or mismarked utilities, vacuum truck work, and temporary winter concrete work.
Motion to approve?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Resolution passes.
Resolution 64, approving change orders of capital contracts for construction of the Pittsburgh Water Treatment Plant filter building sodium hypochlorite improvements, electrical contract to Merit Electrical Group, and general mechanical contract to Kokosing Industrial. Capital budget, $1,316,614. The purpose of these change orders is to replace electrical and mechanical equipment that was corroded due to an accidental chemical release in the north garage.
Motion to approve?
So
Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution passes.
Thank you.
Anything else for the good of the order? I just do want to make a comment. Rachel mentioned that the board had a site visit for the Highland Reservoir Pump Station. And as I was leaving, one of my comments was that I wish every one of our ratepayers could have been on that tour and experienced just the priorities given to water quality, safety, partnership with the neighborhood in design and construction, and consistently high standards. And I think it's something that we can all be proud of. And I also think it's related to Will's tenure and the team that he has built. And the fact that we are getting national recognition, but what's most important is that we are making a difference right here in our community. So kudos to Will and to the entire team. Thanks for all that you're doing. And with that, the meeting is adjourned.
Do we need a motion?